Welcome back to my channel. I'm Amanda and today I'm playing with a lot of things. So I'm using my counterfeit kit challenge. I'm doing mixed media mayhem, which is tissue paper splatters ink blending. I'm also doing a design team layout for Scrap a Sketch using this sketch. And I'm also using Baby Got Scraps because I'm going to use some scraps. So yay. So I have a scrap piece of white cardstock. I'm going to use these 49 in Market stamps, which have some ink splatter stamps on them. So my ink splatters today aren't going to be actual me splattering ink. It's going to be using this stamp, which has ink splatters on it. So if you are not a proponent or you really don't like to get messy with ink splatters, this is a good way of moving about it. I have no problem doing ink splatters, but I wanted to use a stamp. And I decided to use this stamp, and I'm going to use these in place of the arrows because I went through all of my stash, all of it. I have like hardly any arrows, like maybe 2. So arrows on the side wasn't going to work unless I was going to make them all. And I'm making, well, and I don't have dies for arrows. I don't have stamps for arrows. So it would literally have been me making them. And yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so you're watching me use my stamp platform to get a really good impression with black archival ink with these because I wanted these dark because I am going to do some ink blending over top of them with my walnut stain. So I'm using my orange and yellow ink blender brush and I'm just going right over top. I wanted to have an antique kind of look to it. And so that's what I decided. I'm going to have a few darker spots, a few lighter spots, and that's what I definitely wanted, is some darker on some ends and some lighter on others and not all on the same spots. So that's what I did. I'm just adding in some more ink. All of those look a lot darker on screen than the top right one, but it actually isn't noticeable in real life that one on screen looks not as dark, but literally not noticeable on the layout. So I don't know. What I like about this 49 Market stamp set and dies is they give more than one of the larger, well, more than one of the dies for the triangles. So they give 2 of each, 2 of the large, 2 of the medium, and 2 of the small, which is fantastic because instead of running this through my big kick, how many of these do I have? I think 7 times. I'll have to do it twice. Well, 3 times to get the other 2. But I could have technically put it all on together. But so I'm going to skip ahead. Showed you that once. You don't need to see the other 3 get done. But I do decide that I do want to do some stars the same kind of way. So I'm going to use some more of this cardstock scrap. This one I thought about just stamping right on there, and I'm like, nope, I have this little piece. I'm just going to use this little piece. That other piece is going to go in the recycling and be done, and I'm not holding on to it. Yay me. And so I'm just going to restamp some of this in the black. And I'm not caring about it being a triangle. And then I'm going to take these Ali Edwards December Daily stars and cut them out of the same kind of paper. So I'm doing the walnut stain again and adding some more ink blending, some darker tones, some lighter tones, not being too precious. And then all of these stars I'm going to cut out a couple times and just placing it strategically on where the inking is. And look at this. So much fun. I love these. So yay, I get stars. So on this sketch, stars and arrows. Arrows are tough. So I'll show you what I do with those triangles. And I think it works out really well, and I really like this layout. But one of the things I usually do when I make a layout is pick out my photos first. And this time I just had an idea of what I wanted to use and not a photo. So I will pick out my photo halfway through like when I'm finishing up this process. But I was like, huh, me not picking a photo is really unusual though. So done that die cutting. And then I love when companies send their stuff with a little bit of magnetic bit. So that Ali Edwards one for those stars has a magnetic backing in the packaging. Love that. So, and then I'm going to cut, I think I cut this, it's bigger than 4x5, but I cut it fairly big. And this is going to be my photo mat, or one of my photo mats. And I'm going to put it up on foam. I still haven't decided my picture. I'm assuming black's going to work. I wanted to tie the black in for the inking I did. And then this piece of tissue paper. Oh, I love this. So this is a scrap piece of tissue paper. And then last year I did a free college collage workshop thing. And if you want to know who it was by, let me know in the comments and I can totally look up her name. But one of the things she had us do was make tissue paper. And so one of the ones you'll see here in a minute that I don't use, you use marker on and you just scribble, literally scribble. But this one that I'm using actually has gold paint on it. And so she suggested using a fine liner bottle and putting paint in it and then scribbling with the paint. And what a nifty texture does that make? And I did this literally last year, a year ago. But I was like, oh, so I decided to use that and it's so pretty. And then I picked out some photos, but all the photo picking I did was off screen. And so So it's like, none of those, this one. So this one, it was ripped off of a poster board at one point. It was on a poster board at one point for 4-H, because for a lot of years I did photography for 4-H. And this was one of the views kind of out my window. So obviously not on the railway tracks, but I would look out to the elevators and the railway tracks. And so this is my view growing up as a kid. So what a lovely view. And then, so I'm going to use that one. This is white cardstock, also from my scraps. So that's still baby got scraps. Yay! So all that cardstock that I used and that tissue paper were all scraps. And then I'm going to do some more walnut stain on here. So for Mixed Media Mayhem, it was ink splatters, which is with my stamp set. It's ink blending, which is what I did over top. Maybe not more than one, but whatever. And then tissue paper. So I have that scrap of tissue paper with the gold on it. The gold paint also gives a raised texture. So yeah, if you have a spare fine liner bottle hanging around and some tissue paper, I would highly recommend doing this. It was fun and it is neat on the page. So, and then I turned my paper over. So I was going to use that side. And then I was like, everything's kind of getting lost because they were all in the same tones. I wonder what the other side would look like. And this is still the right tones. That purpley maroony color is actually in that background a little bit for one of the fields that you can see. Not exact match, but with the shadows and stuff, it works really well. So, and then this is the scrap of tissue paper I have that has the squiggly writing marker on it. And so I do know that I need something else. And in the sketch, there's another layer here too. I don't like the double tissue paper, but I find this packaging. And I keep packaging to use for layers and as scraps because, oh, why not? So I'm going to use my distresser. This is from some assemblage required. I can say that right. And so I distress that it's thicker than cardstock. And then just trimmed this off a bit. I'm going to add some glue. Not a lot because I don't want it to be clear tissue. I want to see the tissue. And then this is going to just come on here. You can't even tell what the packaging was for. It's just a nice little bit. So, and then that gets glued on. Yay. And I really like how that works. And it is following along with the sketch pretty good. So, and then I'm gonna, on the sketch, there are stars on the bottom and upper corner. So I am going to put stars on my bottom left and upper right. Hence I did the stars. This one's getting a double foam just so that it's high enough to go over top of that corner and hide the cutout for the packaging. And then this one's going to go up here. It's also going to overlap a little bit and actually overlap the picture. I think I'm looking at the sketch to see where stuff is going, because I just wanted to see, is it overlapping, is it not? Trying to be true to the sketch. I don't always work that way, but I try. So a sketch is a suggestion. So, yay. So if you like this sketch, you should check out the Facebook group for Scrap a Sketch. And she also has printables. So at the end of my video here, there will be a code for 10% off printables and stencils and books. And she's got quite a bit of different things. So I really, really enjoy playing with Lisa's sketches. So, and she does a free sketch Friday. And so this is part of her free sketch Friday. So I'm sure there'll be other creators that are on her design team that'll have something else posted. This is what I've got going on. So now I'm trying to sort out how I want to do these triangles. So for the sketch, those arrows were not quite lined up. So I thought about doing like a back and forth thing like that for a second. And I'm like, I want all the points to go the same way. So it kind of mimics the arrows, even though they're not arrows. So, and then they are not quite all the same in and out. So I am trying to mimic that. And the middle one has the title on it. So I'm moving stuff around so I can get the middle one to have the title, and so that I don't have lots of dark beside lots of dark, and so that it just feels more balanced to me. So, and then I'm going to put the middle one on first because I want that about center. And then the other 6 I'm going to overlap. And so trying to give that feel. And I did make you watch me glue it all down because it's gluing. So, and then a little bit of glue there. And one more star here. And I'm almost getting done here. I did misplace the 2 little ones. So I was like, I have some itty bitty ones. Where did they go? So I found them because they were underneath. Yay, I didn't lose them. And so I'm getting a few more stars on mine today, but that's okay. I'm going to slice off this bit that's overhanging. And then I just need a title. So I'm going to go to my alphas and figure out what I've got. And I have these ones, and they're just little tile stickers in the same kind of color. And so I'm going to spell out my view growing up is what I'm going to call this page. And so I'm going to do view first. Mine can sneak in there. I wanted growing up to be, or growing to be directly on that one. So that's why I popped the view where it was. And then the up will sneak in underneath really easily. That's up. And then I don't have my on there yet. I'm going to look at it. So view growing up, I'm like, nope, it definitely needs the my. So get the my on here. And then I tried to journal with a different pen, but it didn't work. So I'm using this one. And underneath, it's not very noticeable, but it says these were torn down in the mid-90s. Just so that there's that part of it. You can see some of that texture there on that tissue paper. So that is this one all done. Thank you so much for watching me today. If you enjoyed my layout, I would appreciate the thumbs up, subscribe, comment. I will have playlists and links to blogs and everything below, including the Scrap a Sketch. There's that code. And thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you. Have yourself a wonderful day.